So I'm using this technique where you visualize your friend in front of you and you talk like you would talk to him. Yeah. So right now you can watch me talking like that, even though you're not here at the moment. So this is interesting because normally I would look at you while I'm talking and observe your reaction. Now that you're not here, I have to imagine your reaction. This is interesting, actually. Maybe you can relate to what I'm going to say now. Maybe there are different ways of communicating, and one is to adapt more to the reaction of the person you're talking to, and the other is to talk more like you are not seeing them. What do you think? What do you think? Is that reasonable? Yeah. Yeah, it's quite simple. One is you talk more as a cooperation. One is you're reacting more, adapting more, and the other is you're setting more, leading more. But maybe you can relate because really so it's quite interesting because it shows this technique. It shows it shows me a lot about my way of functioning, how I'm normally communicating, and it reveals to me that I'm communicating highly tailored, I think, towards the environment. So when I'm just by myself recording a video like this, it's a totally different scenario, like what my communication usually looks like, because there's nobody that I'm adapting to, basically. So if I have this imaginary friend, I mean not a real friend, but imagined right now that they are here, insert joke about friends here, having no friends. Yeah, I don't know where I wanted to go with that. Well, what was it? Yeah, totally different scenario. So it means I need to stand on my own, because normally I am adapting to the environment, but now it's a chance to stand on my own, express myself like I'm just express myself. And then there are two different ways, I would say, at least. One is communicate something I want to tell my audience. Other thing is express myself. And yeah, you could really think about what kind of communications there are on YouTube, but I'm too lazy now to think about it. I mean, there's also like, yeah, it's basically, okay, what YouTube basically is you are transmitting a combination of feeling or a thought, more like a feeling, honestly, and if people can relate, they want to consume that. And if you are transmitting something that is highly on vogue, so which is highly relevant at the moment for many people, then you're gonna get a lot of views. And if something that people want, that they crave, that there's someone who expresses what they are feeling at the moment, then this is very good to gain a lot of views. So there's the relating, and then there's the contrasting. So people watch for these two reasons. First, the relating. You relate to the other person on the screen. Second thing is the contrasting. For example, there's somebody who you feel better than, for example. So the contrast gives you something. Or there's elevation. So the person who speaks elevates your emotional state. Maybe they give you stability, maybe they give you hope, maybe they give you, they make you feel better about yourself. So I would say there are at least those three categories. So there's relating, there's contrasting, and there's elevating. Relating, contrasting, elevating. Those are on the emotional side. There's also the intellectual side, which I suspect is a bit lower, honestly. Then it's about concepts, but I think that's only a fraction. Really, the emotional consumption is the important part. The relating to the person's energy, to the vibe, and everything. So then we could think further. If that's the case, then it suddenly makes sense why it pays off for a creator to transmit a stable emotional narrative or vibe, gives off a stable emotional vibe throughout one video. Why? Because, as we've said earlier, people tune in because of that. So if it would be not stable, they don't get it what they want, because they don't know what to expect. First of all, it's unstable, and so the algorithm cannot recommend it as effectively, because the video needs to be classified mainly in one emotional state, in one dominant emotional state, so that the algorithm can forward it to the right people at the right moment, because the algorithm knows a little bit what does this user need at the moment, right now, emotionally. So if it has a selection, a portfolio of different creators with different emotional states, and then it can serve the user exactly what they need at the moment. That's why for a creator it's important that one video has a stable emotional state throughout. Thanks for watching. I don't know why I said that was completely unnecessary. Anyway.